Okay, so just real quick, I forgot in the last video with the whole multiplying and dividing that they were solving rational equations as well. These don't take very long. It's just a matter of factoring some stuff out, canceling, and then solving a rather simple equation. So let's just do a couple of the examples that I have. We're not going to do very many, but let's look at this. We're trying to solve this. Notice this is the only one of these problems we've done with all the rational expressions we've looked at that has an equal sign in it. None of the other things had equal signs because they weren't equations. They were just expressions. They were just, factor and cancel. But this one has an equal sign, so we need to figure out what x can be. Now, first and foremost, x is not allowed to be -3 because if it's -3, that would make the denominator 0. So first, let's point that out. We can't have x be -3 because, like I said, if it were, it would create -3 plus 3. It would be 0 in the denominator. That can't work. So let's remember that. Let's keep that in the back of our heads for this first example, that x cannot be -3. So notice my numerator, x squared minus 9, we need to factor that. That is a difference of squares. X squared minus 9 factors into x plus 3 and x minus 3 because it's a difference of squares. X times x, 3 times 3. There you go. So this is x plus 3 over x minus 3. And then I still have this same x plus 3 on the bottom as I had before, equal to 7. Now notice x plus 3 here, x plus 3 there, those cancel because they're the exact same thing. We factored, we've canceled. So now I just have the equation x minus 3 equal to 7 because the x minus 3 is the only thing that's left. So solve it, add 3 to both sides. We're going to have x equal to 10. And there you go. That works. That's fine because it's not -3. I just had to remember that, -3 wouldn't work because it would make the denominator 0. But x equals 10, that works just fine. That's my solution. So let's try another one. So again, obviously, I think it goes without saying we're going to need to factor this numerator. So let's talk about that. First, I guess let's point out the fact that x cannot equal 1. Because if x equals 1, then the denominator would be 0. So let's point that out. Remind ourselves of that up here. X cannot equal 1 in this problem. Okay, simply because of this denominator. If x were to be 1, 1 minus 1 would be 0, and then we wouldn't have a denominator anymore. So let's keep that in mind. So let's go back to factoring. X squared plus 3x minus 4. So this is a trinomial, so we're going to use product and sum. I need two numbers that multiply to make -4 and add the 3. Let's see, two numbers that multiply to make -4, add to 3. +4 and -1? Yes, that it would be. So again, because a is 1, this is going to be x plus 4 and x minus 1 as my factors. So that's my numerator. We have x plus 4 and x minus 1 over this same x minus 1 I've had up down there this whole time equals 5. So again, this x minus 1, that x minus 1, those are going to cancel. So my equation's x plus 4 equals 5. And now solving this equation, I got x equal to 5 minus 4, which is 1. However, I just pointed out earlier, x was not supposed to be was not supposed to be 1. But this answer says x equals 1. But this says x can't be 1. So what's the problem here? It means it doesn't really work. We don't actually have a solution to this. There is no solution because the only solution we get doesn't fit because it makes the denominator 0. So there is no solution to this. So please remember that. You're going to work these problems out. You're going to get answers, but you have to remember which answers would work, which answers would not. That's why in the very beginning, I pointed out the fact that x was not supposed to be 1, because I wanted to remember that if I ended up with x equal to 1, which I did. So we get no solutions technically for this problem. So keep that in mind as you work some of these out. Let's do another one. So again, let's first point out that x cannot be -4. Because if it's -4, it makes the denominator 0. So let's remember that a little bit later, okay? But let's factor this numerator. So x squared plus x minus 12. Let's factor that. That would be product and sum. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to -12 and add to 1, because it's 1x. So that would be, let's see, +4 and -3. 4 times -3 is -12. 4 minus 3 is 1. Again, since a is 1, my factors are x plus 4 and x minus 3. So let's put that back in the problem. We're going to have x plus 4, x minus 3 on top. On the bottom, I still have this x plus 4 equal to -7. So the x plus 4s are obviously going to cancel. So I have x minus 3 equal to negative 7. So when I add 3 to both sides, I'll have x equal to negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4. Oh, but again, I said earlier, x is not supposed to be negative 4. So just like the last problem, that's not really a solution. Doesn't actually work. X can't be negative 4. So we're going to say, again, no solution here. All right. And then just one more problem. Just why am I doing this? I can just erase all of it with the click of a button. Just do one more just for fun. So 2x plus 3, a little less obvious. I want to know what would make this 0, because that value is not supposed to be a solution. So let me go ahead and quickly figure out what this equal to 0 would be. So divide by 2. So x cannot equal negative 3/2. So let's remember that. X cannot equal negative 3/2. Now the numerator, if you're wondering here, that is factorable, and that is factorable by difference of squares. So if I factor the numerator, that would be 2x and 2x. This would be 3 and 3. So I would have 2x plus 3 and 2x minus 3. That's my factor for the top. On the bottom, I still have 2x plus 3, of course, and equals 5. So the 2x plus 3s are clearly going to cancel out. So that leaves me with just 2x minus 3 equal to 5. So when I solve this equation, oops, I'm adding 3 to both sides, not 5. 2x equals 8, so x will equal 4. And that's totally fine because the only value that would be excluded was negative 3/2, and my answer was 4. It's obviously different, so my answer is just 4. Kind of like how m was just 10. 10 was fine. In this case, 4 is fine. So that's going to be it. That's solving. Just make sure you factor and cancel, but be very aware of your denominator and what the excluded values are, because they matter quite a lot. All right. I'll see you when we add and subtract. Bye.